3, 2, 1. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Hanging with Janky. Every week when I look at myself in the viewfinder for the camera, I appreciate how much more I continue to look like Shaggy with longer hair and this scraggly little goatee thing and green clothes. And I appreciate it because Shaggy is top-notch Scooby-Doo character. Also, I'm sure for those of you who have been following along on Twitter, you'll know that I have been thinking about renaming this series because it is primarily about gaming news, and I feel that Hanging with Janky doesn't convey that. My biggest issue at this point is that I really don't want to have to start the numbering scheme at 0 again. After being at, what is this one, 71, I think? Episode 71 of Hanging with Janky? I don't want to start that over again. I don't know. It's an ongoing debate with me. Also, later today, I'm going to a VR arcade, so I'm super excited about that. Watch out for tweets about that. Well, they will have already happened. Whatever. Look. Gaming news. Let's get to it right now. Go. All right. So let's get into the 411, because that's what I'm calling it now, because damn do I love 90s news phrases. Anyway, let's get to it by starting about the Nintendo World Championships, which are coming back. So Nintendo has previously held 2 World Championships, in fact. One in 1990, which was super duper hype. They played a whole bunch of different games, I think, but there was one that they focused on, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is right now. And then they held one in 2015, which again, they played an array of games, and then the finals was all about making it through a ridiculous number of super hard Mario Maker levels, and that was also super duper hype. Well, they're bringing it back again in 2017 so that they can have a Mario Kart 7 competition, which is super cool. There will be 2 age brackets. There will be 12 and younger, and there will be 13 and older. They'll have 8 preliminaries across the United States at Best Buys. And hey, if you're not interested in playing the game, but you still want to check out the scene, they will be having demos for Super Mario Odyssey and another game, Metroid Samus Returns. Thank God I had that written down. And you'll be able to check those out too. And then they'll have the big final championship in New York in October. So, all sounds very cool. I'm very excited. Also, if you show up to one of these places and you're one of the first 200, you get a little My Nintendo badge. None of the cities are even remotely close to me, so I won't be getting one, but it still sounds super hype. Continuing on with gaming news, as I said last week, Overwatch Summer Games are back, and now they're here, and it's awesome. Lifeguard McCree, Bathing Suit Widowmaker, Scuba Sombra, Barbecue 76. They're all great. Just wonderful. Lucio Ball has also made its return, and there is now a ranked version of Lucio Ball because everyone loves a ranked mode, right? I know I do. I play a lot of it with my friends, is what I was trying to say. Let's continue on. Continuing to speak on Overwatch, let's talk about Overwatch Deathmatch, which is a new mode of the game that is coming out. So I'm sure most of you who play FPS games are familiar with the concept of a deathmatch. Essentially, it's you are trying to kill everyone else while you do not get yourself killed. Now, the way that it's working in Overwatch is that there isn't like a permadeath. It's not like someone kills you and you're just out of the game and whoever's left standing is left standing. However, there is a point-keeping system, and every time you kill someone, you get points, and then every time someone either falls off the environment or they die from self-inflicted damage, they lose points, and then whoever gets to 20 points first is the winner, unless you're playing Team Deathmatch, which you can also do, and then it's like 30 points gets you the win. But it's super cool. I think people will be super excited about it. People have been asking for this kind of thing in Overwatch for a while now, so I think everyone will like it. I think it'll be fun. You can actually check it out right now on the public test realm server. Plus, they released a new map, which is Widowmaker's home. You can actually go to like her ancestral manor house, and that's like the new deathmatch map, which sounds super cool. I haven't got a chance to check it out myself, but I will definitely be checking that out later today if I get a chance. So, hype. Continuing on, Dota 2 is releasing a digital card game version that's not a MOBA at all called Artifact, because I guess we needed that, apparently. And also, No Man's Sky says that they will provide an update to improve the story, which I can only assume means that they'll actually add a story. And those are also things going on. Additionally, Discord recently announced that they are finally moving into some beta testing with their video and screen sharing features. So about 5% of Discord users are now able to check out this feature and use it. They're kind of testing to see if their servers can handle the load of video chat and screen sharing. But it sounds super exciting, and it sounds like they're hoping to release this feature to everyone in maybe like a month or two, which will be super cool, because video chatting while playing video games, right? And screen sharing while playing video games. That is hype, and that will make doing YouTube videos with other people so much easier. So much! I'm excited. Additionally, if you're a fan of 8-bit video games, I have some exciting news for you in the form of UFO 50. So, UFO 50 is a new compilation series by the creator of Spelunky, Derek Yu, along with some of his other 8-bit fanatic friends who have made several 8-bit style games over the years. They're creating a, I called it a compilation. That's kind of what it is. It's 50 new 8-bit video games, and not just like mini games or micro games, but actual full-fledged 80s style games. They did say that they would be a little less intense than like games from the 80s, but essentially you're getting 50 80s style 8-bit games in a pack, and it seems super exciting. You can actually check it out right now over on the UFO 50 website. I always want to forget the O, and I don't know why, but you can check it out right now over on the UFO 50 website. However, it does look like it won't be released for like another year or so, because of course 50 games take a long time to complete, even if they are 8-bit. And yeah, so that looks super cool, and I'm very hyped for that, and you should be too if you like 8-bit games, because hype. The next thing I want to talk about with you guys is a game that released this past week that people have been just talking about and saying a lot about over the course of the past week. It's called Hellblade. Senua's Sacrifice, I think, is how you pronounce it. Essentially, though, what the game is about is you play as this girl who's from this like Celtic Norse culture, but she suffers from these mental health issues. And I think as you find out over the course of the game, she's had all this really terrible stuff happen to her in her life, and like her village blames her for all these bad happenings and stuff. They call her cursed and all this. And essentially the entire game is her suffering this psychotic break, and you're not really sure like what's actually real and what's not real, and like are these monsters actually here or are they not here? And one of the features is like this audio soundscape where you just hear these whispers and stuff, and the whispers are like telling you watch out behind you and all this other stuff. But basically the entire point of the game is to sort of set you on edge and put you in the shoes of this person who's having this psychotic break, and like what that feels like and how you deal with it, which I think is a really interesting concept. But there are a couple features of the game, one in particular that people have sort of been debating about on the internet, which is the rot. So early on in the game, the girl picks up this stuff. I think in the game it's actually called the rot. It starts on her hands, and then apparently as you die in the game, it slowly moves up your arms, and if it reaches your head, it's game over. And your save file gets wiped and deleted, and you have to start the entire game over from the beginning. Permadeath style. And I heard about that, and I was like, hell no, I am not doing that. And this was like a huge thing that people were talking about, because this was like, there's a screenshot toward the beginning of the game. It specifically says like, if the rot gets too high, then your progress will be lost. And a whole bunch of reviewers were talking about it. Like every major review of the game talked about this feature. And yet, it seems that no one actually bothered to test it. Well, it turns out that Ninja Theory, the developers behind the game, did it as a trick, as a way to set you on edge even more in this game that plays on your last nerve for the entire game. They were just like, oh, yeah, that's not actually a thing. You don't permadeath in this game. And everyone's just like, what? Yep, nope, it was all a bluff. It was all a ploy. You can die as many times as you want. The rot will never kill you. But it was funny. It's funny to me because that was like such a divisive thing whenever people started talking about it. Because some people were like, oh, that's a really cool and interesting new feature. And people were like rushing to defend Ninja Theory. They were just like, every time a developer wants to try something new, everyone's just like, God, that sounds terrible. Let them try something new, guys. And then everyone else was just like, this is like, that's terrible. It's a narrative-driven game. And so you'd have to start it from the beginning if you died too many times over and over again. Like, that was a turnoff to me. I wasn't going to play the game because I heard about that feature. Turns out, that feature doesn't exist. Everything else about the game, like all the reviews and everything so far of the game, have been stellar. Everyone's just like, this is great and awesome and sweet. And that's great. And it sounds awesome. But my God, don't fake us out with a feature that's going to like divide your fan base in half. But I don't know. Anyway. All right, and let's wrap things up with a little news about hacking the planet. So, this is some really awesome research coming out of the University of Washington. They have figured out in their genetics lab how to encode malware into DNA. Okay, so for those of you kind of unfamiliar with how laboratories work with this sort of thing, basically, most laboratories, whenever they need to sequence a whole bunch of DNA at once, they actually run it through a gene sequencing computer. It sort of samples the DNA samples, and then it will run the DNA through. And so the University of Washington, and what I can only imagine was just a bored computer programmer who'd watched the movie Hackers too many times and just went to the biology lab and was just like, hey, you want to try something cool? They figured out how to encode a malware program for the computer into one of the DNA sequences. So when the computer sampled it, it uploaded malware onto the sequencing computer. Now, obviously, this wasn't an easy task for them by any means, because in order to encode the malware, you actually have to do a thing where you like splice code into the DNA, which requires you to first separate out the DNA and then use bacteria, because bacteria are what are typically used to insert codes into the DNA. And you have to split open the DNA, and then you have to like very carefully cut off the sequence that you want from the bacteria and then place it into the DNA. Let's just say it's a very long and arduous process to try to like mess with stuff. And obviously it's not like you just like, you know, prick your finger, drop the blood in, and it's like, ooh, I have malware in my blood, and then like upload it to the computer. But the point is, hack the planet, and it's really cool. Hack the planet, guys, hack the planet. Anyway, let's wrap things up, as we do, by thanking all the new subscribers for this week. So, starting off with Cookie. Cookie, thank you so much for joining up with the Jank Squad. I very much appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of the crew. I hope you like being here and keep being you, because you are awesome. In addition, we also have my friend Nate. Nate, thank you for subscribing to the channel. You are super cool, super awesome. It's been forever since we chatted. We should do that sometime, friend. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. You're awesome. Keep being you. And that is everyone I have to thank this week. But of course, thank you to all 285 subscribers to the channel. Y'all are part of the Jank Squad. You all part of my squad. You all part of each other's squad, because we all in the squad together. Squad, squad, squad. Squad, squad. How many times can I say squad? I can say as many times as I want. Jank Squad, Jank Squad, Jank Squad, Jank Squad. Love you all. Keep being you. And that is all I have for this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed yet another Hanging with Janky. If you did, of course, feel free to hit that like button down below. Comments, positive or negative, feel free to hit that blah, blah, blah. Feel free to leave those below as well. But more than anything, I hope you have a lovely day, evening, or whatever you happen to be watching. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, this is Janky Shenanigans, signing out.